Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Dr. Pooja Dalal. Today I am going to discuss the last topic of nervous system, that is spinal cord and spinal reflex action. So today I'll start with spinal cord first. Now what is spinal cord? See, I've drawn a diagram here. This is spinal cord. It's a butterfly shaped part of the nervous system. So what is spinal cord? It's a butterfly shaped organ. So in the center, there is a canal which is known as central canal, and the arrangement of white matter and gray matter is reversed to that of brain. In brain, I taught you that gray matter is outside and white matter is inside. But in spinal cord, it is totally reversed. See, I have shown in the diagram, it is white matter outside and gray matter inside. Again, let us repeat. This is a spinal cord. Spinal cord has a canal in the center which is known as central canal, and this central canal is here, and inside there is a gray matter and outside there is a white matter. So the arrangement of this white matter and gray matter is totally reverse that of a brain. Very important for one marker. Second important thing about spinal cord is the location. So how does it extend? It extends from the medulla and runs along the whole backbone up to the second lumbar vertebrae. So what is the extension? From medulla up to second lumbar vertebrae. Again, very important one marker question. Third thing about spinal cord is that it has the same protective covering that those in the brain, that is meninges. So even spinal cord has the protective covering known as meninges. And what were the three sublayers? From outside to inside, it was DAP, dura mater, arachnoid mater, pie mater. So these were the three layers, and in these three layers there were two spaces. And what were those spaces? The subdural space and the subarachnoid space, which is filled with a fluid known as cerebrospinal fluid. This cerebrospinal fluid acts as a shock-proof cushion, and it provides the respiratory gases, the nutrients to the brain as well as to the spinal cord actually. So it is the same function which was there in the brain, same function here in the spinal cord. So it gives nourishment to the spinal cord. Second important thing about spinal cord is that it handles almost 95% of reflex action. So it does not allow the overloading of the brain. So all the reflexes below the neck are handled by this spinal cord. First thing. Second thing is, like suppose these are the sensory neurons. So they bring, it is the spinal cord which brings the information from the receptors up to the central nervous system. How? By sensory neuron. And second, it takes the information from the central nervous system up to the effectors. How? By the motor neurons. So this is a reflex arc, and reflex phenomenon is reflex action. So I have shown it this with the help of a diagram. Again, this diagram is very important. They ask in CBSE board, they ask for 3 markers for the drawing, and in ICSE they'll give you the diagram. They ask 5 marker question based on this diagram. In the end, I will discuss this 5 marker and 3 markers, how you have to do these questions. Now let us discuss about the reflex action. Now what is reflex action? It is sudden, automatic or quick, immediate. One word. Sudden, automatic, quick or immediate. This is one word. Involuntary response to a stimuli. So it is sudden, automatic, quick or immediate involuntary response to a stimulus. So any stimulus, any change in the external environment will be taken care by the receptors. So here I have shown a receptor skin. See here, this is a skin. So this receptor will acquire the information, and these receptors, because they have the sensory neurons, so these sensory neurons will take this information to the spinal cord. Here to the central nervous system, but to the spinal cord. Okay, so these sensory neurons, they take the information from the receptors to the central nervous system, that is the spinal cord, with the help of dorsal root ganglion. So this I have shown with the arrows. Here in the spinal cord, they have association neuron, or they are also known as relay neurons. Now what these association neuron or relay neuron will do, they will interpret the information, whatever these sensory neurons are bringing, and they will convey to these motor neurons. These motor neurons will take this information and will give to the effectors, that is the muscles or gland, and then these muscles and glands give response to the stimuli. Simple it is, very simple. So this is the reflex action I have shown with the help of a diagram. Again, these are the receptors. Receptors have sensory neurons. Sensory neuron will acquire this information and will take to the central nervous system, that is to the spinal cord. Spinal cord have association neuron or relay neuron. They will interpret the information, will convey to the motor neurons, and these motor neurons will convey finally to the muscles or glands, that is the effectors, and then they give response to the stimuli. For example, take one small example. Somebody is pinching my hand, or somebody is, putting my hand to a very hot object. Suppose I touch a very hot object. So what I'll do, if I'm touching it, I'll quickly remove it. So the touching a hot object is your stimulus, which is taken by your receptor, that is taken by my skin, and then withdrawal of this hand is my muscles or the glands, which are giving response to the stimulus. But it is how quick it takes less than 1/10 of a second. So, and the entire thing has happened and I have withdrawn my hand also. So this is a reflex action. Very important. 5 marker, 1 marker, 2 marker, 3 marker in drawing. They ask so many types of questions from here. So this one part is over. So let us take a dictation of this part first, and then I'll talk about the reflexes. Okay, write down receptors. We have already written receptors, effectors, sensory neuron, motor neuron, spinal cord. Lumbar also you write, lumbar and vertebrae, because they can ask the extension of spinal cord. So write lumbar, then vertebrae. Okay, so these are few dictation words, they're very easy. Second important thing is they can ask you the drawing of this diagram. So here you have to just take care of this butterfly shape, this thing, and I will teach you the diagram in my diagram section part. Okay, and 5 markers they ask, they will just give you, see, one thing which is very important is that they give a black and white diagram in the exam. So when they are giving the black and white diagram, so they can reverse this diagram. I have shown this diagram like this. They can show this butterfly part here and the receptor effector on this side. So there the student gets confused when they reverse the diagram. And second thing is, sometimes see, in your books also the receptor is written up and the effectors are down. Normally they have written like that, but they have given 2-3 times in the board exam, they have given opposite, effectors up, receptors down. Now you will ask me how to analyze which are receptors and which are effectors. You have to see the arrows which are coming inside. So that part will always act as receptor. Again I am repeating, the arrows which are coming inside will always come from the sensory organs, that is the receptors. Okay, because the receptors will take the stimulus. So where they will take and will bring to our central nervous system. So they are coming inside, and the arrows which are going out, they will always be the effectors. So the arrows going out will be the effectors. So jahan pe bhi arrows are going out, that part will always be effectors. For labeling I am telling. And the arrows from which are coming inside, that part will be the receptor. So these are the 5 marker question. See, they can ask you the labeling, receptor effector ka labeling. Spinal nerve is important here. So spinal nerve, I'll talk when I'll talk about the nerves. So spinal nerve is very important. It is a typical mixed nerve. Every spinal nerve is a typical mixed nerve. What is the meaning of that? It has got both the sensory and the motor neuron fibers, nerve fiber or neuron fibers. So therefore spinal nerve is a typical mixed nerve. So they can ask spinal nerve, they can ask sensory neuron, motor neuron, they can ask central canal, white matter, grey matter ka arrangement, they can ask association neuron. So these are the labeling part they can ask. So they can give you 5 to 7 labelings. They'll ask first question, mark 1 to 5, yeah, 1 to 7. Second, what phenomenon is this? So this is a reflex action. Third, define reflex action. Okay. Fourth, give the arrangement of white matter and grey matter in the spinal cord. What is the speciality or between the spinal cord and the brain? About the covering they can ask. So both are covered by the same membrane, that is the meninges. So all these questions are important. Okay, so today's this part is over. Second thing is, see, we have discussed central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, and then we have to discuss somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Now somatic nervous system is again divided into two parts, the cranial nerve and the spinal nerves. Cranial nerves are 12 pairs, whereas spinal nerves are 31 pairs. Cranial nerves 12 pairs. So you just remember olfactory, which is for nose, then optic nerve, which is for eyes, and auditory nerve, which is for hearing, that is for ear. Learn these three nerves. These are all cranial nerves. Cranial nerve emerges from the brain. And second is spinal nerve. Spinal nerves are 31 pairs. So it is 8 in the neck region, then 12 in the thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacrum, 1 coccyx. So 8 plus 12, 20, 5 plus 5, 10, 30, and then last one, 31 pairs. So this is how it makes the counting 31 pairs. And then last is the autonomic nervous system, which is again divided into two, sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system always prepare your body for the action. It is always, see, when I'm going on a stage and I'm delivering a lecture, let's say, so sometime you must have heard that some people, they have stage fear, they cannot speak, they become nervous. So it is the sympathetic nervous system, it is your body, it is the sympathetic nervous system, it is preparing your body for the action. After some time you become normal. So that calming down is done by the parasympathetic nervous system. So these are the systems which work antagonistic to each other, that is opposite to each other. If one accelerates the heartbeat, second will decelerate the heartbeat. If one increases, second will decrease. If one dilates, second will constrict. So they are always acting antagonistically to each other or opposite to each other. And the last topic is the kind of reflexes. There are two types of reflexes. One is the inborn or inherited, which is when we are born with all these reflexes. We don't require some prior training to it. For example, coughing hai, sneezing hai, vomiting hai, then peristalsis hai, swallowing hai. These things, see, when we are eating food, there are peristaltic movement, there is a swallowing of the food. So we don't teach a child how to swallow the food. He or she already knows it. Blinking of eyes, these are not taught. Sneezing, coughing. So these are the inborn or the inherited reflexes. And second is the conditioned or acquired reflexes. What are conditioned or acquired reflexes? These are the reflexes which we require a prior, training for that reflexes. We are being taught all these reflexes. There was a scientist, Pavlov. He did a conditioned reflex on dog. So there was a Pavlov's experiment for conditioned reflexes. He trained dogs and then the dog started salivating. So he used to ring the bell and he used to provide food for the dog. So dog used to think, yeah, ringing of a bell, then he used to assume that I will get the food. So he did for 15 days. So after 15 days, the dog became conditioned just by ringing of a bell, and without seeing the food, he started salivating. So this is a conditioned reflex that you are given a prior training for that. For example, playing a piano, playing guitar, playing, all these musical instruments, standing in the class when a teacher arrives and wishing her good morning or good afternoon, tying of a shoelace, okay, then suddenly applying the brakes when something comes. So these are all, you need a prior training for that. So these are conditioned reflexes. Very important. They can give you only examples and they can ask which one is inborn and which one is conditioned. Second, they can ask the difference between the two. So today I have wound up. I have finished my nervous system, and in my next video I will start with hormonal coordination. So I will begin with endocrine system. Okay. So till then, take care, bye, and Merry Christmas.